Hello everybody, this is a very short video showing how targets work within DBT. This is a copy of the DBT of the starting DBT project from DBT Labs, so you can go ahead and clone that repo. I'll have the instructions within the README file. In this project we have the example models. Those are coming from the repo. I didn't touch those. And then we have a custom directory, and these models are here to show how to use custom schemas. If we look at the DBT project right here, I stripped off all of the rest of the file, so we just have the name and the profile. And when we look at the profiles, we just have two targets. We have the dev environment and the production environment. Both of those are running within Postgres. So I have Postgres running in a Docker container, and the only thing that I did different, I'm using the default ports, and then I have the passwords here. And ideally, you will have two different users, and I guess in theory you shouldn't even see the production. That should be within DBT Cloud. But here I have both of them to show how we can use two different targets. Okay, so the first thing that I want to show, let me refresh. Okay, I will delete. Yeah, if I go to my Postgres instance, we see that there are no schemas, but I will go ahead and do dbt run. We see that we are using the target, the dev environment, because that's what we have as the default for the target. And now if I go to Postgres and I refresh, we see the dev schema. And I will explain in a second why we are seeing this one right here. It is very easy to use a different target. So if we want to run the production target, I specify the target flag, and then I pass the name of the target. So we should use that one. And now if I go and I look at my Postgres instance again, then we see that we have now prod, and again prod better schema, and I'll explain in a sec. So if we were to run target and we pass an incorrect name, then we will see that that name, the target, something, does not exist within our profile file. So whatever we pass in the command, it should match one of these names right here. The other thing that we can do, and again this is not ideal in the sense that we don't want to be storing credentials, and the profiles file, that's something that we probably want to keep track within the repo. So what we can do is, instead of simply putting the credentials and the user and password, we can use environment variables. So let me copy this. Actually, I have it right here. So I have profiles with env. So I can copy this, put it within the profile, and we are using the env_bar function within the dbt templating. And the other thing that we should do, so first I guess let's try to run this. So if I go dbt run, okay, that's running because I already set up the environment variables. But if you go ahead and try to run this, you will have an error because none of these environment variables have been set. So in order for you to try this, I have these environment variables within the .env, then what we can do, we need to export those into the session. So I will do set this, and now we can do source.env, and now if we check for any of these variables, we see that all of them have been passed to the shell session. So now I can go ahead and do dbt run, and this will run again, no problem. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is using custom schemas. So what we saw, if I bring back Postgres, so we have the dev, and then we have the dev better schema. So what dbt allows you to do is have more granularity within your target. So there are cases where we may want to divide things based on business unit, for example. Let's say that we have finance, marketing, human resources. So we can do that very easily by specifying a schema. So what if I copy this, so let's look at I will update the project YAML file. So what we are saying here is that for models within my project, so this is the name, I am specifying a custom schema of marketing for all the models that exist within this directory. So what this will do, this will take whatever the target is. So if the target is dev, it will then add the custom schema. So let's take a look at that. And here we have two models. The first one, we should see dev underscore marketing, but the second one, the retail ops, this goes back to to whatever has the order of precedence. So we are setting the schema within the project, but we can override that by specifying the schema within the models itself. So let's take a look at this. So now let's do dbt run. Why did it run on prod? I guess echo. I think there's a okay, yeah, so I've seen that before, so let me remove that. So let's do unset dbt target. So echo we shouldn't see anything that makes sense. So I'll clear and I'll run again. And if I bring Postgres now, so let's refresh this. So we see dev, which is the default, and that should have, if we look at tables, let me actually, I think I have all stuff here, so let's run it again. Okay, so refresh. So we have dev. If we look at the tables, then we have my first dbt model. That is the table. The other one is just a view. So if I go to views right here, that's my second dbt model. But now for the custom directory, we have, so this one should be just dev underscore marketing, because we are specifying this within the dbt project file. So If I go to dev marketing and I go to tables, then that's where we see model with custom schema. But if we look at retail ops, then that one, it is overriding whatever we have in the project YAML file, and we simply have dev and the name of the custom schema, so better schema. And if I go to tables, I see retail ops right there. So in this video we saw how targets are used, how can we have different targets within our data warehouse, and if we want finer granularity, we can use the custom schemas. And make sure you understand, how can we specify them within the project file, and also how can we override them within the specific models. Okay, that's all.